Hello and welcome to Loving Me, Myself, and Life with me, Jody Misiak. And today I want to talk about simplifying your life when things get stressed and overwhelmed. So I learned a while ago, it was actually when my son was born, that simplifying your life sometimes just needs to happen for survival. So when my son was born, I actually ended up having a C-section just because the placenta was in the way. We could have taken our chances, but I had a daughter at home and I just didn't really want to go into emergency C-section. So maybe, yes, I could have had more faith in the universe in the process. And at the same time, I had to do what felt right in that moment. So I had a C-section. Now we had a 2.5-year-old at home, and we actually live in a side split. And so that's like 5 levels, and so stairs everywhere, and I couldn't do stairs right away. So that left my husband taking care of a toddler and taking care of a wife and a newborn, and like running up and down the stairs, feeding me and all that fun jazz. So we had to learn real fast to simplify and do what matters most first, and that's it. And then throughout the 2 first years that my son was a lot, when his first 2 years, he did not, he was a really solid sleeper at the beginning, and then he went backwards, and he started waking up like a few times a night, and this went on for 2 years almost. So in those 2 years, we really leaned on simplifying our life, and we got really good at it. Really, really good. And then we finally were like, yes, we can get out of that phase of simplifying. And then recently I was reminded about keeping it simple. So we are making, like I mentioned earlier, some life changes, and I promise you I'm going to share more details very soon with you. Because as I'm sharing this, we're in the process of the awesome change. So I promise I'll be sharing it soon. But anyways, we're in this big, different life change that is going on. So we're doing crazy amounts of stuff going on in our life. And then you throw in the teacher strike in Ontario and having our daughter home more often. So, we had to simplify again. We had to make sure we were saying no to things that just didn't, I don't want to say didn't matter to us, but just we had to prioritize and keep things simple. And that also meant our thinking, because sometimes we can overanalyze things. So it's we get jump a month, 2 months ahead, and it's whoa. Now, let's just focus now. Let's figure out what can we do right now? So we had to simplify. And then I had to, I definitely love doing things for myself. And I used to never want to ask for help. I thought asking for help was weak, and that it meant that I wasn't good enough if I couldn't do it myself. Then who am I and why, I needed to do everything on my own. I had to do it. And I've come a long way. I definitely can ask for help. Definitely still sometimes can be hard to ask for help, but nowadays I've had more. So asking for help and then delegating. So we've actually hired people to do things around our house. I just don't have time to clean right now. So we hired a cleaning person to honor my time. And again, we all only have 24 hours in the day. We have the same 24 hours. Now, I did read this cool book that shares it's our mind that does we can expand time and things like that. I'm not going to get into it. So we can definitely use our time wisely and more so than other people. And again, not going to get too crazy into details here, but it's just knowing that we have the time that we have, and we don't have to do it all alone. So I was asking for help and delegating. And it was just, hiring people to help us with some certain tasks around the house, just because we only had a month to do what we needed to do. And to be honest, it is our own doing that we had the month, but that was where we wanted to be, is in a month we had some stuff to do. So it's asking for help. And then thinking about what is it that you can have somebody else help you with? Or, for in our case, who could you who could you hire to help you? Now, there's definitely times where I'm almost oh, I would love a nanny. But at the same time, what we did was my son's in daycare 3 times a week, so I can, build my business and things like that. And it started with 1 day, and then now it's 3. That alone is enough for me, unless life throws me curveballs and the teachers go on strike and all that fun jazz. So I have that fun thing where I really want to spend time with my kids. Like I've gotten really clear on that. I don't want to be home all week with them. Like I have this calling and this passion that is I feel called to do, and it feels right. And at the same time, I don't want to sacrifice missing out my child's life. So if you're working full time and it's like, oh man, I feel bad, don't feel bad. I just came clear on what I want and figure out a way to make it happen. And it could happen for you too if that's what you want. It's just taking baby steps and figuring out. Is getting clear. At one point, I actually thought I'd always want to be a stay-at-home mom. And then I got really passionate about helping other people. And there's been times where I felt like I just want to quit. There's times where I'm like, I tell my husband, like, I got to give this up. I got to stop. I don't have time for the time I need for my business. I just don't have it. I don't have it within me. And I said this a few times, and then eventually I would be like, I can't give this up. Like that just felt like I was giving a part of my heart away. So now when I feel like giving up, I never say it. I'm just like, whew, I feel overwhelmed. So it's about simplifying and figuring out how to take smaller steps and to just ask for help and delegate more, and just understanding like what I do love to do, and what I can kind of not give up, but what can kind of go on the back burner for now. And it's just keeping things simple. So we can get lost. I know as parents, for myself anyways, you can get lost. Like I had this idea of what I wanted to be as a mom. I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom, and I wanted to, have these cute like little learning activities, and I wanted to craft all the time, and I wanted to go all to these baby classes, and I had this perfect idea of being a mom. And then when you get there, you're like, oh, like I nap. I'm a napper. I need my sleep. If I'm grumpy, I'm not the best mom I can be to my kids. And honestly, I'm not a big fan of those parenting groups. I actually felt anxious in them, and it didn't help my daughter either. With my son, I never went there. You got to do what feels right to you. If you're forcing something because you think you should do it, but it doesn't bring you joy and it doesn't feel good, then stop doing it. As long as you can safely, obviously. Things like that just didn't feel good. And then the funny thing is the baby groups were like 9:30 in the morning. Well, my daughter was sleeping at that time. Like that's when she napped. I wasn't going to wake my kid up to take her to a class that I wasn't a really big fan of. Like, yes, she needed to socialize, but I figured out a different way to have her socialize with other kids. And it's just figuring out what's right for you and your family and your life. And that's what it comes down to, simplifying. And not trying to fit yourself into other people's expectations, what you think you should be doing because, you've been told to. And it really just, simplifying. Start with what matters most. Like, obviously, if you have young kids like I do, you need to make sure that they're taken care of, that they're safe, that they're fed, and all that fun jazz. And what I was mentioning earlier is like with social media and things, like you can watch people. So I had this perfect idea of being a mom. And for a while there, I'd, see people posting on Facebook about, those moments that I wanted to have with my kid or kids. At one point, it was just my daughter, but, children. Then I'd be like, oh, I'd feel bad. I was like, I'm not doing what I wanted to do. But I had to honor with where I was and who I am. And we can get really lost in people's perfect worlds on social media. We have to remember that we only see part of their world. It's not their whole life. Maybe they are doing everything like they're doing, like, I want to put like the perfect mom or the perfect parent things on Facebook or social media. But deep down, they are crying every night, or they're like eating their feelings, or, they're just miserable inside. We don't know what's going on. So the first thing about simplifying your life is to stop comparing yourself to others. And that includes yourself, comparing yourself to what you thought you were going to be, where you are right now. One of the biggest things that I had to learn was like I always had this idea of where I was always going to be. And then you get there and you're like, oh, that is not where I was going to be. I remember I wanted to be married by like 25 and have kids no later than 28. I was like, if I'm 28 and I don't have a man, I'm going to have my own kids on my own. Luckily, I met my husband, I think, when I was 25. Yeah, 25. So I didn't have to cross that bridge. I don't know if I ever would have actually done it. But you have these ideas. And then we let those ideas run our life, and then it gets crazy, and then we overdo it in our lives. We get overwhelmed and stressed out, and we just feel like we're not doing enough, or we're not enough because we have this expectation of who we should be, or we let other people's expectations run our lives. And that's when we really need to simplify. Like when you're stressed and overwhelmed, and I don't mean you have to like go crazy and simplify forever. It's just breaking it down. What do you need to do right now? What matters most right now? And then work your way up. I'm not saying you have to get rid of things or things like that, but it's keeping things simple. Don't overthink things. Don't analyze things. Just simply be who you are and let life be what it is at the moment. And then when you need help, know that it's okay to ask for help. Asking for help is not weak. It is the most empowering thing you will ever do for yourself, ever. I remember when my daughter was born and I kept like a super clean house, or I guess maybe other people had cleaner houses, but like everything had to be in its place. Everything was super neat. And to the point where I actually had bags of like gifts and stuff. And my mom comes over and she's like, oh, that was so out of you to have like things laying around. People have expectations of who you are. So if you are changing who you are and people see that, don't let that discourage you. Just realize that you're changing, and it's okay. Anyways, though, so I needed things to be neat, and I needed to do it all by myself, because like if I didn't feel like I was, good enough. It meant that I wasn't strong enough on my own. And it definitely stemmed from growing up with like people would be like, call my mom super mom. And just because you're super mom doesn't mean you're not like stressed out inside and loving yourself and stuff. So it really does come down to realizing that you might be overworked, overdoing it. And like I said, when my daughter was born, I had to take some hard looks. Like I remember my mother-in-law was like, I'll clean, and I didn't even take her up on it. I just felt like I had to do it myself. And I definitely learned the hard way with my daughter. And then when my son came around, it definitely was a little easier to ask for help. I was also, again, a different person from when my daughter was born to my son. As we grow, we become different people, and we are just our best versions of ourselves. So right now in this moment, you are the best version of yourself. And tomorrow and the next day, you'll even become the most best version of yourself. So as you work on yourself, you keep creating the best version of yourself. It's just taking that step back and asking for help. Like I know it was really hard for me to ask for help, and nowadays it's a lot easier. And sometimes it can be hard to figure out who to ask for help from. But for me, like it was just like, okay, I don't have time to clean the house right now. Like that is the one thing. And to be honest, it does not bring me joy. It brings me joy to have a clean house. I love having a clean house, but it's not what I want to be doing with my time. Like when the kids are in school or I have like some time, I either want to be working on myself, like creating a deeper loving relationship with myself, honoring my time and space that way through like different self-love practices and self-care. Or I want to be working with my clients and creating the business and expanding and doing these podcasts that I love. Maybe I should figure out how to clean and podcast at the same time. Maybe I like that more. Anyways, it's just understanding like I only have so much time in a day. And what do I love doing and what do I not love doing? Now, that doesn't mean that I won't clean my house. And I have actually figured out different ways to make it more fun. Like I'll put some fun music on and do it. But if I only have 2 hours of my day and I either have to clean or I get to interact with you and my amazing, loving tribe, I'd rather pick my amazing, loving tribe and you. If I'm being honest, that makes me so much more happy and brings me joy. And the cleaning could be done by somebody else. So do take a look today if you can. If you're feeling overwhelmed or stressed out, or you maybe just have maybe you're juggling too many plates. How can you simplify? How can you take a step back, kind of get back to the basics? Maybe ask somebody for help. If you have young kids or even slightly older kids that need, somebody to look after, maybe you can find a grandparent, a neighbor, anybody. Just take your children for a couple hours, because we all need time to just be with ourselves as well and do what we love. So if you need to simplify or you need support somewhere in your life, today take this as a sign to take that step. Figure out how can you ask somebody for help, or what can you ask somebody to help for? Like where could you need support? Where in your life do you need support in? And even just answering that question helps you bring to you that support. Now, I'm not saying you don't do anything, but just knowing where you need support helps open those doors, helps open the idea, your brain starts going and you have these ideas, and it really gets you thinking, and it gets you inspired and really gets you creatively thinking about solutions. But until you realize that you need support somewhere, you can't find solutions. Until you it's like in anywhere in your life. If you don't shine a light on your emotion that you're feeling, or you don't shine a light on a problem, or anything else, you can't find the solutions. You can't change what you don't shine light on. So if you feel like you need to simplify and you feel called to do so today, just start shining light on those areas that you feel that need a little extra attention. And then let go of those things, like especially expectations of yourself and what other people have put on you, like what a perfect mom should be, or a perfect wife, or whatever it might be. There's no such thing as perfect. The most important thing is that you're you, and that you send your love your way and you do it lovingly. And when you're living on other people's expectations, even including your own, then you're doing it out of like fear, frustration, judgment, and like you're not bringing your best self forward. So today, do you, and just simplify and ask for help wherever you need it. Get support where you need it. It could be emotional support. It could be physical support. Maybe you need a workout buddy, or somebody you just want to walk with, or yoga, a mental support where meditations and things. I definitely did an episode on meditating, and I've even included a meditation. Whatever it is, reach out for support in whatever area you need. Maybe there's a lot of supporting areas you need support in. Focus on one and go through there. Remember, simplify. You don't have to do it all at once. Lower your expectations. That doesn't mean that you don't show up the most amazing self you can be, but you don't need to like try and go like crazy over the top. You're amazing just the way you are. Show up as you, and everything will be amazingly awesome. I hope you have a beautiful, beautiful day. Bye for now.